Today on Spindle City Straight Talk, lies, lies, and more lies. The city's full of lies. It's amazing what Fall River is going through. Hi, I'm CJ.
And I'm Chip.
And it's going to be an interesting show for you today. Last night's city council was amazing. We had citizen input time where the citizens were standing up and screaming at the city council and letting them know they won't tolerate it anymore. The tax revolt has begun. What do you think about it, Chip? I mean, this is getting to be amazing.
It is. I think finally the people have finally gotten the message that our city council and our mayor has total disregard for their finances and what they're doing to the city of Fall River. Well, not all. I will say we have some city councilors who are attempting to do that, but the fabulous five that we have on the city council today, who are basically bobbleheads for the mayor, they have a total disregard for what's good for the city. And you're right, people are beginning to lose control. I'm waiting for the pitchforks and the torches to come out.
I was absolutely stunned when the fire department union president came out and called the mayor a liar. Came out and called him a liar, an outright liar. So all you Flanagan fans, sorry, but your boss is a liar. And the proof is in the paper. He actually wrote in his grant paperwork that Fall River, and this grant paperwork goes back to last August, that Fall River was going to suffer a $10 million shortfall. And without the grant money, they would be unable to provide safe fire service for Fall River. Amazing, absolutely amazing. And when the city treasurer was asked last night at the city council meeting, you were part of these negotiations, weren't you? You were part of these meetings. And he goes, well, yes, I was. And you know what his answer was in regards to the question, well, didn't you know that this was said? I can't remember. Immediate amnesia falls over the city council and the city financial team. Nobody remembers anything. And then they said, well, Sean Kadim did these things. Amazing how the man who's not here to defend himself caused all the problems. And this is just one of the many things that we've been told over and over again that have been lies. And this show has told you over again, you're being lied to. We never miss a beat, do we, Chip? Never.
No, well, we told you, we said that the city was basically so far in debt that it's impossible to really comprehend the debt. It was over a half a billion dollars before last year, as Mr. Kadim said in Boston at a meeting that I attended. But the fact is, it's the lies, and more lies again. The city was well aware of the shortfalls when they applied for the SAFER grant. Yet, when they made the budget presentation a few short months before that, we heard songs of what a wonderful city. We were in great financial shape. I believe the words that we used by Mr. Kadim, we were on, we have a sustainable budget on the city side. We're on solid financial footing. And lo and behold, we find out that lies again. We haven't been told the truth in a very, very long time. And the only place you hear the truth is here on Spindle City Straight Talk.
It's just, it's amazing at what happens. And last night, the administration again came forward asking for that bond. They still want that bond. They want to bond the police cars. They want to bond the DPW equipment they need. They want to bond 2 vans. They want to bond these things. Some of them are wants. Now, Chief Racine does need new police cars. We know this. We all know this. And the city council, Mike Mioza, Dan Rigo, came up with some ideas on how to handle this. Let's take the money out of the $3 million we have in the stabilization fund. Uh-oh, wait a minute. We got a problem there. Another lie. $1.35 million has already been committed out of that fund. And we don't know where. We don't know where. And the treasurer says, well, I have no idea. I'll have to look that up. And jump into the bandwagon here on defense. It was City Council President Joe Camara. Let's keep it on subject. Let's keep it on point. We're not going to ask these questions. We're going to talk about what we're here for, what's on the agenda, nothing else. And he said that numerous times throughout the city council meeting. Why? What? There is no question that can be asked that we shouldn't be able to talk about. There is nothing. And the truth does not need to be argued. It only needs to be argued with the liars. There's a big problem here in Fall River. You're being lied to. Your tax dollars are going up. Do you remember a few months ago, Terry Sullivan came before the city council asking for a base meter fee increase? And that should solve their financial problems on the enterprise account? Guess what? It didn't. Not at all. So what did he say? Well, in the next 5 years, we're looking at raising the sewer overflow fee, the CSO fee, otherwise known as the rainwater tax. But guess how much it's going to raise it? They're going to double it by 2020. Double it. And next year, just to give us a break on fiscal year 15, they're not going to raise it. So that means for over a period of 5 years, they're going to raise the fee $9 a year, if not more. Can you afford that? How about an increase in your water fee? We need that, don't we? And an increase in your sewer fee, because, they're both tied hand in hand. We've been lied to about that. It's amazing. I honestly am beside myself. I was watching this city council meeting, and I'm like, I should have popcorn. It's like a movie.
It's better than a movie.
It is.
It's a soap opera. Because soap operas continue forever. I think we're up in the General Hospital's been on for about 50 years, I think, and this city is right up there with General Hospital. We should have a continuing saga. But as you said, CJ, all our questions should be answered. But I have a question for Joe Camara. I want to know what kind of deal you made that you've become so protective of the mayor and the councilors that are in the tank, and you don't want tough questions to be asked that affect the lives of the people of Fall River. Because, frankly, I am tired of listening to the treasurer, who, by the way, got a pay raise when he took the job with no work record at all to base it on, had 3 assistants, and hasn't answered one difficult question yet in his 16 months as treasurer. I think he actually doesn't speak. I think he has the tape recording when he asks the question. They ask a tough question and he says, I don't have that in front of me. I'm going to have to look it up. I don't have that information. Well, what do you think you're there for? I mean, you're the treasurer of the city. We have a stabilization fund, and there's more than 1/3 of it missing, and you don't know where it's going. I don't think you're doing your job. No. And the other factor is, maybe CJ and I were the only people who knew, that stabilization fund doesn't exist. That money is just pumped in there from other sources to make our bond rating look good. The reason that they're so panicked and they don't want to use the stabilization fund for these bonds and to buy police cars and other things is because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
Like many other things in this city's budgetary process, they don't exist. How many times did you go before the city council and run to the state because money was missing out of the employee's health account? How many times was money used from there to pay other bills? This is something we do in Fall River all the time, and nobody says anything about it. And that kind of scares me. It really does.
Yeah, you're right, because, you can only fix a problem if you acknowledge it. Now, I'm going all the way back to 1991, the first time that I found over $1.5 million that had been moved from one account to another, and the city treasurer said under oath, and I actually have the depositions because we had a stenographer take them word for word. The city treasurer basically admitted to backdating checks from one fiscal year to another, which is illegal. They talked about the fact that they had absolutely no idea where money was going because they just had routing numbers. They didn't know where it was going. And actually, during the questioning, our attorney asked, well, so if that actually went to somebody's personal account, you wouldn't know? And they said, well, yeah, I guess that's right. And we're having a little technical difficulty. Our our timer isn't working, so CJ's frantically telling our control room to give us a time check once
Yeah.
in a while. But to get back on point is that, you know, in '91, at the end of that arbitration, they promised the arbitrator that they were going to fix it, and that was a long time ago. And every single year there's a screw up. In the last 3 years, there has been a $3.5 million error continuously. 1 year it was $1.5 million, then it was $500,000, then another $1.5 million. In 3 years, there's always errors. Nobody knows. I don't think anybody can count. I think that's a prerequisite to get a job in our financial department. If you can count, you're immediately not qualified to be working for the city of Fall River.
And earning a couple of $100,000 a year, as it seems. You know, it's crazy because the lies don't just stop here. I mean, Scott Butera, as you remember last week, came in for the casino hearing. But he made sure that he was out of there in 45 minutes, like a spot on the dime. And when I've called their offices several times for information, or more so, at the request of several citizens of the city, to have a meeting without the mayor and without some of the other administration people to talk about questions that concern them. And they want real answers, not texted answers, not planted answers, not planted questions. And I'm still going to work on doing that so we can have a special meeting with Scott Butera and the people of Foxwoods to talk about it. Because you know what? We want to know. Because already the deal that Foxwoods talked about with us has been cut in half. The casino cost went from $750 million down to $500 million. That's a 25% reduction in the casino. The restaurants have gone from 20 to 10. The mall might be gone. They don't have the parking. They don't have the land space for it. They're not making a resort casino, a destination resort casino. They're making a casino. And they're doing it to firm up their budget, to firm up their losses, and get them here. The New York Times wrote an article about Foxwoods. And the title of it is Foxwoods is Fighting for Its Life. They are a megalithic casino. They have a labyrinth-like layout. You get lost in there. And it's so big they didn't care. $225 million was spent on a museum. The village that was created on the other side of the swamp, they spent millions and millions of dollars for their tribal members, which there are 900, including luxurious spas, indoor and outdoor pools, none of which they have to pay for. The casino pays for it. Multi-million dollars. And now they got to pay it. They got to pay it all back. And all that Scott Butera says, well, we restructured our financing. In other words, we refinanced. We got some more investors. But they're trying to save Foxwoods. They're not saving Fall River. I am neither pro nor con casino. I am pro the truth. And it's obvious that we don't get the truth in this city. You know why? The 6th floor doesn't want it. Look at a $6,000 shower and a $9,000 door, which was brought up by Councilor Pereira last night. I like to call them the financial four: Mike Mayoza, Ray Mitchell, Councilor Pereira, and Dan Rigo. Because the other 5 are rubber stamps for the 6th floor and everything they want. Although surprisingly enough, they did not vote for the loan order last night in regards to the police cars and whatnot, even though we need them. Somebody over there actually saw the light of day. And when you heard Pat Casey, guess what? She voted for the loan order. She didn't care. Jaisal Correa said, well, you know, I support this idea unless you can prove to me that it's wrong. Paul De Silva, I'm going to do this. Leo Pelletier, you know, that's a given. And then it always comes back to Joe Camara. So, you know, why do you vote these people in people? I mean, what do you see? Did you get a good chow mein sandwich from Leo? Did you get a good dinner from somebody? And they said, oh, well, you're not going to give him a vote. Oh, they're a nice guy. They're not. That's not what it's about. It's about running the city properly. And then people won't be screaming in the city council chamber about, you lied to me. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, we've been talking about this for months and nobody's paying attention till now?
Well, unfortunately, people normally don't get involved until it directly affects them. But the reality is that what's always fascinated me about politics is how people put people into political jobs that basically hold their future in their hands because of everything but the ability to do the job. You know, if my next door neighbor was an auto repairman and he was the greatest guy in the world and I really liked him and we had barbecues together and stuff, I still wouldn't bring my car to him if he was a horrible mechanic and he couldn't fix my car.
Exactly.
You know? And the same thing with a TV repairman or anybody else. Why do we vote for people, for city council and for mayor, who are totally unqualified, who do horrible jobs because they groom our dog, or because they were involved in the PTO with you, or all these totally irrelevant, you know, issues, and it's just, this is, and what happens is, this is the result. And by the way, that vote yesterday, Joe Camara voted against it because it was dead, because you need, I think, 2/3 for a bond. You
Correct.
needed 6 votes.
Right.
So as soon as he knew that there were 4 votes against, he said, I can guarantee you, if they had the 5th vote, Joe Camara would have voted for those bond issues.
Oh, of course.
Because he is so far in the tank now, he needs scuba equipment.
But you know, it's amazing how this is going on. We've been telling people this for months, and both of us individually have been saying this for years, but you know, we're the liars. And that always gets me. You know, we are the liars. And you have to say to yourself, you know, why bother? And this is why the state looks at us and says, that's where the animal goes. I mean, we said this yesterday on the phone, you know, because this is what happens. And one of the big misconceptions that I have to bring up, and it was said very clearly at the city council meeting last night, is that this is a commercial casino. What they want in Taunton is a tribal casino. They didn't bring up the fact that the Gaming Commission wants a tribal casino in Region C, and that only one license is going to be granted to Region C, which is going to be a tribal casino. So they're sending out a letter, a resolution, which says, we want you to not extend the deadlines. You know what they're going to look? The Gaming Commission chairman, ooh, look, it's a resolution. More toilet paper. I mean, this is what's going to happen. I mean, this is sad.
Well, you know, as our theme for today's show, lies, lies, and more lies, you know, this entire casino, I believe, is more a diversionary tactic, because if you're a betting man and if you're pro or anti-casino, you have to look at the odds in gambling. The odds are against Fall River getting a casino, even if this was not just a diversionary tactic. The fact is, number one, the tribal license will take priority if that happens. New Bedford has already had a vote on a casino and voted in favor of the casino.
Actually, to clarify that, they need another referendum on it. And the mayor has been fighting against it, but now he's starting to come around.
Now he's coming around because, wow, how amazing. You mean the mayor of New Bedford listens to the people?
Yes.
What a novel idea. What a novel idea that is. We should try that in Fall River.
Who's going to listen?
Well, that's a good point. But you know, I mean, we've got to begin by eliminating these people who don't represent the people. We've got to get rid of this. I mean, I know they're new councilors, but these 2 councilors are as useless as the proverbial you-know-what on a bull.
Yep.
And
of course, Pat Casey, we know,
well,
there's never been a vote that she didn't say yes to the mayor on.
Yeah, and Pat Casey, I think, has caused more damage than any single person in the history of Fall River government, because the fact is that she has never, ever voted against an initiative from the mayor, regardless of how bad it is. And every single debauchery that we've had in the city of Fall River, Pat Casey was staunchly behind, because she will not vote no on anything that comes from the sixth floor, regardless of who's there. So she has been there for decades, and for decades she has been an obstacle to good government.
This is true. This is true. And, we have to wonder. We have to wonder about it. And, I think it's about time that I go into my great little segment of commentary. And I'm sorry to say it, that I think most of it was said today. If the mayor's nose grew like Pinocchio's, we would have a direct shot to California by now, if not further. We have been deceived over and over again. 3 terms, and we've been deceived. The people are starting to revolt. Grandma and Grandpa are in the city saying, oh, great, this is going to be wonderful. We're going to have a casino. We don't have to go to Foxwoods anymore. Until they heard, oh, wait a minute. We're not going to get the free meal? No, you're not, Grandma. No, you're not, Grandpa. You need to be on a bus ride to get a free meal. So you're still going to Connecticut whether you like it or not, if you want that free meal. And right now, they have no idea what they're going to do with a casino, if they even get one. The Supreme Judicial Court ruled that the state can place on the ballot a referendum question to abolish casino gaming in Massachusetts. We talked about this last week. We talked about this Friday. We've talked about this a lot. And if that vote is negative, guess what? It all goes away in one fell swoop of the voting ballot. If the vote doesn't pass Fall River voters, guess what? It doesn't happen. And we're banking on money. And boy, did we do this before? Doesn't this sound like deja vu? We did this with the beer company. We were going to use X number of dollars of water, and we were going to have water fees, and that money was there. And then the Boston Beer Company said, bye-bye. You can't bank on something that's not there. And another good thing that was brought up last night was, how many police officers are on a grant? We don't talk about that too much, do we? There are 32 police officers which are not on the general ledger. That means they're not paid by the city. 32. What happens when that grant money comes out and we don't get any more? Where do those 32 police officers go? They're going to go to the same place the fireman went, who the mayor promised a 7.5% raise, and he said, we can afford it? Yeah, we can afford it because it's not his money. This is the lies that we're told. And I don't blame the firefighters for taking a 7.5% raise, because heck, if my boss offered me 7.5%, I'd take it too. So the police wanted their cut, and they got it. So now what's happening? Well, let's look. DCM, bye-bye. We're not going to see it. Our internal information from reliable sources, again, this is the rumor mill, the shadow government that we have, which so far we've been 100% on, that DCM is going to privatize waste removal, which means it's going to go to like ABC. And that's what the rumor mill currently has. And that means all those people in the DPW are fired. Sans 25. Because without 25, Kenny Pacheco doesn't have a job.
And his salary won't go down.
Exactly. And his salary won't get reduced. So we have to look at these things. And we have to say, how many more lies are you going to have? As a matter of fact, the mayor gave the DCM guys such a lie, he bought them boots, Red Wing boots, for the election. And I said to a few of the guys the other night at the city council meeting, I said, I hope you like those boots, because they're going to be right up your backside when you get slammed. And that's what's happening. Fall River, it's a different world today. This is not what you used to think it was. And it's time for you to wake up, smell the coffee, get up in the streets, and make a fuss. Hold these people to the fire. If you got to burn the mayor in effigy, do it. If you got to hold banners outside of City Hall screaming, no more taxes, no more Flanagan, no more lies, then do it. It's time for the people to let them know. Jefferson said it very clearly. When the government no longer represents the needs of the people, it is up to the people to get rid of the government, to put in place a new government. And that's where we're at right now. This government does not represent the people, doesn't represent me. I don't know about you. I'm a property owner. I pay enough in taxes. And I don't want any more. I'll pay for what we have to pay. And if I'm getting something for my dollar, I'll pay for it. But when I'm not getting anything but pay raises for cronies, I'm not there. I don't know, Chip. You think I said too much?
Oh, you haven't said enough.
I know.
Lies, lies, and more lies. We have to stop the lies. The mayor has lied about everything since the first day in office. He began his tenure as mayor by saying that the stormwater fee was illegal, and it's still here. He made a lieutenant the chief of the fire department, and he still hasn't said that was the wrong thing to do. And now we see what's going on with everything else. The problem is that all we have is lies, lies, and more lies, but the major problem is that all these lies are being subsidized by a city council that he owns the majority vote in. And that's just as important as our incompetent buffoon of a mayor. We have a city council that is doing the business of Will Flanagan, not the business of the people. It's time to change this.
You know, it's tough because, as you and I both know, there is a group getting together trying to have a recall of the mayor. Now, last night it was discussed amongst those same people that maybe they should start also putting recall petitions in on the city council. I mean, this is a revolution. This is a revolution. And at what point do the people stop? When you get what we need. That's when we stop. This is Spindle City Straight Talk, bringing you the truth that as we see it and as we know it to be. Keep watching. And if you notice now, we have a new website. It's not up yet, but it will be shortly, called scstonline.com. And you can email us at tips@ststonline.com. Chipper, I, and our director are all available via email, and all that information will be available online as soon as we get that site up and running. But we thank you for watching. Have a great day.
Have a great day.